Blog Talk Radio.
Recruiting Animal here on June 10th, 2020. Okay, this is a bit long today, so I'll try to talk fast. I had a conversation with Alexandra Levitt, on this show back during the Occupy Wall Street days. Maybe you remember that. It was a few years ago, okay? And she said at the time, she had written a book called Blind Spots, and she said you should never comment on controversial issues on social media because it could be bad for your career. And, of course, I disagreed with her, but now, you know what? I have to admit it. I'm humbled. I'm not sure I was right. And I'm going to tell you why, because there's some things happening here in Canada recently that threw a scare into me, okay? A self-proclaimed Marxist feminist professor says she lost her job because she believes that biological sex is real. She said that doesn't interfere with her teaching, but she acknowledges it, okay? And then there was a guy who was, for a short time, the leader of the opposition in our parliament, okay? So, I mean, he wasn't a big deal in Canada, but at one time he kind of was. Anyway, last week he was fired from his law firm and fired as the director of a big telecommunications company in Western Canada because he was on a TV panel, and he said something that people didn't like. I think it was a bit stupid, but, you know, it wasn't that bad, okay? And now there's a well-known journalist. This blew me away. She was suspended from CBC, the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, for reading something out loud in the studio that was written by the person she was going to interview. Okay, now I never heard of that professor before, but everybody here who's, you know, older than 15 knows that politician and that journalist, they're not racist or sexist or biased or, you know, they're not any of those things, and it didn't make any difference. Boom! They were cut as fast as could be, right? And so just this week I was reading about this new, don't worry, Jerry, I'm almost done, okay? I was reading about this new human resources technology that helps employers search social media for sexist or racist comments by candidates or their current employees. So, you know, if you or your candidate go onto social media and comment about current events, what's going to happen to you? The machine doesn't have any context. It doesn't know anything about you. And is it going to understand if you make a sarcastic remark that's just a joke, right? So I'm wondering, is this a good way to keep people, you know, on the straight and narrow path? Or is it a bit like 1984? Maybe you can tell us on Jerry. What show is this?
The Recruiting Animal Show!
Thank you, Jerry. Boy, that music at the start of the show and your shout, they lift me up every Wednesday.
Man, I'm pumped.
Okay, there's
Quite
an echo on the
uplifting.
line. So thank you, Michael.
That's not my problem.
Okay.
You know, I thought with your show intro, I thought that you were leading right up to not only should you worry about tweeting or commenting about current events, you should worry about what your spouse or significant other is tweeting. There was a guy, a pro soccer player, whose wife tweeted something. He didn't know anything about it. The soccer club, and this is like the pros, top of the pros, the soccer club made him apologize for what his wife said, and I don't even know what it was. It was about Black Lives Matter. once he apologized, they then made him renounce his wife. And once he did that, then they fired him.
Yeah, but he still gets paid. I read it's in Spain. It happened in Spain. Yeah, it was a shocker, too. Yeah.
No, it's the L.A. Galaxy. I don't know where the dude lives.
Oh, really? Okay.
But it's in California. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, check it out. We've lost our minds here.
Well,
I might even get fired for
you.
mentioning that guy getting fired.
Yeah, no. Honestly, you could get in trouble maybe because you're insensitive. Okay, because you're saying this guy shouldn't have been fired. Maybe that means you're insensitive.
Hold on. Wait. I'm not saying he shouldn't have been fired. Of course, that's not for me to say.
Walk it back. Jerry's walking it back, everybody. Please pay attention.
No.
Yeah, okay.
I was simply passing along news. That was information.
He's simply reporting
Remember back when news used to just be news? Yeah. I'm pretending like the good old days.
Michael G. Cox, what were you saying there?
No, I said he's just simply reporting the news.
That's all, reporting the news. Okay?
Yeah, I know that nobody knows how that goes anymore. I mean, now I have to give you the news and tell you how to feel about it. I'm not telling you how to feel about it.
Or no, you have to give the news and the disclaimer that you're not associated with those statements, okay? Now, let me just thank the sponsors. You weren't here, Jerry, but we've got a new, last week we got a new sponsor. Adams, Evans, and Ross are the credit and collection specialists for the recruiting industry. Man, if you
I love those guys.
Go back a few weeks, everybody. Listen to Wilson Cole. He's the boss over there. Man, he did a great show. I really enjoyed it, okay? And
nice
that's him. And
guy.
He liked the show so much, he wanted to be a sponsor, okay? There you go. I was shocked. I was surprised. And anyway, what about our old friends, PC Recruiter, the Swiss Army knife of recruiting software, and Honeit, HONEIT.com, the online interview recording technology, and finally HireTool, HireTual.com. It's the super duper sourcing tool. I'll be telling you more about all of those companies in a few minutes. But you know what? I just want to remind everybody we've got a guest. We're 10 minutes into the show, and he hasn't even been mentioned. And not only that, he's a return guest. Okay, the only thing I remember, he's got a tough name. His name is Joe Skowronek. I think last time you were here, you complimented me that I got the pronunciation right. Do I have that right, Joe?
Close. It's Skowronek.
Skowronek. Okay, well, I enunciated just to make sure that everybody gets it, okay? Joe Skowronek. Okay. Now, you want to okay, here, actually, you say on your blog, which hasn't been, you've got a link to your blog on your LinkedIn profile, but you haven't touched your blog. You haven't touched your blog for 3 years, okay? But I went there.
Who has?
Okay.
Do people still blog?
Well, he doesn't. So he says. Yeah,
nobody. The smart money left the blogging world about 4 or 5 years ago.
Jerry, our Facebook groups are blogs, really. They're just blogs in a more convenient location. Everybody's linked, and it's easy to post. Okay, so this guy, Joe, our guest today, Joe, he says that on your blog, on his blog, he says everybody should have a networking elevator pitch that lasts for 15 to 30 seconds, and he actually puts his there. I want to see if he can give us a good elevator pitch. Go ahead, Joe.
So my name is Joe Skowronek. I am a recruiter in the embedded systems space. So I work with engineers who are developing model-based controls in the software that are found in the vehicle.
Yeah, I didn't understand a word you said after I'm a recruiter. Okay, look, I got to tell you, I think that's your line making all that gurgly noise, Joe, okay?
Really?
Yeah. You hear the echo? I just heard it again. I got a feeling it's you, Joe, okay? I don't know how you recruit with that phone. Okay. So let me just tell everybody what you wrote on your blog at that time, because what you did now, all the technical stuff was too confusing for me, but it was better than what you wrote then. You said, "Hello, my name is Joe Skowronek. I graduated from Oakland University and did sales for many years. Recently, I moved into recruiting and felt I did very well. My goal is to become a recruiting manager because I like coaching and mentoring other recruiters." Can you imagine someone telling you that on an elevator or in a networking meeting? It sounds like a robot, okay? That is stupid. I can't tell you. I'm glad you dropped it. You smartened up.
Animal, can we lift our guest up here a little bit? In times like these, do we really need to start by tearing people down?
Well, I just want him to fight back. Tear me down. Tell me I'm wrong, Joe.
No, I wrote that blog, and at that time I moved from sales to recruiting. I believe what I said now is a lot more prevalent. So.
Yeah, okay. You know, that's no excuse. You had your title as VP of Sales. A VP of Sales should have known better as well. Because here's what you said. When you're doing a network, an elevator, start with people. Anyway, well, okay, I'll move on. Forget it. Jerry says don't do it. Okay. You know what, Joe?
Hey, this man, you're getting nowhere, dude. You've got no traction. Can I take over for a second?
Go ahead.
Just a second. Okay, Joe, you're in Detroit, eh?
Yes.
How's business? What's going on up there? Give us a word on the street. Bird's eye view. What's happening?
Business. So business is actually decent for us.
Great.
So, I mean, we've consistently had hires every week, and we did a lot of things that other companies didn't do. Is we put people on the paid bench. We did people over profit.
Contractors or?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So you do a lot of work with contracted embedded engineers then?
Right, yeah. We're a full-fledged engineering company, so it's kind of a hybrid of staffing and outsourced projects. So we're a little different than your typical staffing company.
Okay. We probably would have never learned that if Animal would have just kept berating you about stuff you did years ago.
Okay.
I like to know what people are doing now.
Oh, no, I was going to ask him, did you listen to my intro, Joe?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to know, I mean, some of us comment on Facebook and places like that. The Prime Minister of Canada, sorry this echo is killing me, but I'll keep trying. Okay. The Prime Minister of Canada, you know, he went to a protest on Saturday standing shoulder to shoulder with a bunch of strangers, okay, out in the street. Even though for the last
in blackface garb or no?
No, that was 30 years ago.
No?
It was 30 years ago.
Okay.
He went to a
Just
party
checking.
dressed like Will Smith, okay?
Okay, hope you don't mind if I check. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, well, okay. But anyway, so he went out there after 3 months when he'd been telling everybody to stay home, okay? And he's doing these daily press conferences with, the media 30 yards away and stuff like that. Okay, is it okay to comment on that if you think the Prime Minister, is stupid or, it's a hypocritical? Joe, do you think you'd be putting yourself in an awkward position if you comment on that? Is it better just to stay hands off?
Hi, I'm Stephen Rothberg.
And I'm Jeanette Leeds.
And together, we're the co-hosts of the High Volume Hiring Podcast.
Are you involved in hiring dozens or even hundreds of employees a year? If so, you know that the typical sourcing tools, tactics, and strategies, they just don't scale.
Yeah. Our bi-weekly podcast features news, tips, case studies, and interviews with the world's leading experts about the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to high-volume hiring.
Make sure to subscribe today.
If it depends on your how you're set up. If you're keeping your Facebook and your LinkedIn and your professional friends just on LinkedIn, no one's really going to see it. That's fine. But like me, I'm Facebook friends with the directors and other high-level people at my company, so I wouldn't do that. So that's probably the wrong way.
Okay,
wrong
so
thing
if you
for
were
me to do.
following me and I posted something about the Prime Minister, and you, let's say you were a Canadian, and you saw that, you would not comment because you couldn't control the privacy of my comments. You would just stay away from it. Is that right?
Right.
Okay,
Right.
and you would stay away because you agree that if you express a political opinion, it might go down wrong with the company. Is that right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Anybody else want to comment? Anybody?
Yes, you can comment, also known as virtue signaling. Very, very common to show your state of wokeness. You should post on stuff just to show people that you're in the groove with everybody, whether you believe it or not. And that's it's very, very highly recommended.
Jerry, you're burying us with these comments on wokeness. Okay, people are going to think you're some kind of I don't want to say, but a certain kind of person and they're going to think Michael G. Cox is that kind of guy too, or me, right?
What do you mean a certain kind of a
making
person?
Those types of assumptions without knowing me. Oh well.
Yeah. Okay. See, because I have to tell you, I just wanted to stick with this just a little more. I retweeted this morning. I thought it was funny, and I had thought to myself, am I going to get in trouble? It's this guy, this professor in England from an Asian background. I think his family comes from Hong Kong. He said, they say Asian parents don't give compliments, but my mother once told me that the government would have shot me during the communist takeover because I have a big mouth. I thought that was hilarious. I thought it was really a perfect comedic line. But, if there was a machine tracking me, I don't know. They might say, what's he talking about? Why is he liking something about Asian parents not giving compliments? It's scary. Am I right?
That's borderline hate speech affirmation by way of third party. So I don't know. That's a roll of the dice, animal. Very ballsy move.
Yeah, he says, don't say my parents never complimented me. And then that's what he says. Okay, what about this? It is you. But by the way, it is you. I muted you, Joe, while Jerry was talking, and it was nice and quiet for a change. No echo.
Man.
He's got the show running in the background, I think.
Oh yeah. Do you have a speaker on?
Nothing.
Or is it
I'm in my own office. I don't have a actual normal phone, so it's just a cell phone on my ear.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what can we do? You're screwing up the show, but what can I say? You're the guest. Okay. What about this? Okay. Is this a phony success formula? Getting up early? I think it is. I don't think it helps at all. What do you think?
No, I mean the people who are successful are making calls after 6 o'clock at night. So when do you think candidates are available to talk? So I would say working late is more of a formula than getting up early.
So do you think that recruiters should start maybe around 10 o'clock in the morning because they're going to be making calls in the evening?
Yes, unless you want to work 12-hour days, right? If the people who shut off at 5 o'clock are not successful recruiters.
Okay. It sounds like you work at home then. Do you work at home? You said you're in an office.
I'm at home until at least August.
Oh, I see. Okay. But not usually.
Can I just throw in my 2 cents on this whole up early, work late thing?
Yeah.
Connecting with clients and managers and new customers, that's an early morning thing. Candidates are an evening thing. You're not talking to any customers at 7:30 at night. And candidates don't want you ringing them at 7:30 a.m. Just a thought. I mean, I don't know, if, Joe, do you work more with candidates or the customers or both?
So some customers are so busy during the day, the only time we talk is after they're done at work. So some of the customers. So, but yes, I'm 80-20. It's 80% of the time more talking to candidates than customers.
Okay, I'm moving on. Okay, here's what this guy said. I saw on your LinkedIn. It says, I was recruited by Joe into LHP. He was always very friendly when talking to me. That made it easier to deal with the process because looking for a job is not something you do every day, and I felt nervous talking to recruiters. But Joe always made me feel like I could talk to a friend, and that helped a lot. Okay, Joe, are
Warm
you
and fuzzy.
especially? But what'd you say, Michael G. Cox?
I said that's warm and fuzzies.
Yeah, is that important? That's what I want. That's what I'm asking. Joe, do you deliberately make yourself friendly? What's the story there?
Yeah, because you're dealing with a lot of recruiters who are very transactional, right? We don't want them to feel that it's transactional. It's about building relationships because, if they had a great experience, they're going to refer friends.
Okay. Does transactional mean not friendly? What are you talking about there? When you say, oh yeah, there's a lot of transactional recruiters.
Hey, you're going to have to explain this and do it slowly.
So transactional is not really just learning the bare minimum to get them submitted over to the customer. Not really trying to understand kind of who they are, what motivates them, things like that, and kind of hand-holding throughout the whole process. Right.
Okay. I was gonna tell Michael G. Cox, he's so funny. I don't mind if I'm on the spectrum, okay, and I need things spelled out to me a little more clearly than the average person. But listen to the way this guy's talking. He's on the spectrum too. If I'm on the spectrum, he's on the spectrum. He sounds like a robot, okay? That doesn't sound like a pal. So you don't. That's not warm and fuzzy. You don't sound warm and fuzzy to me, Joe. That's not something you try. Am I right?
Oh, I'm very warm and fuzzy. I coddle candidates. I'm talking to them, phone screen, talk to them before the interview, after the interview, once I get their offer, talk to them their first day. So anything could go wrong, so I'm a very paranoid person throughout the whole process.
Okay, I guess you're missing my point. I mean, I want to know what makes you sound friendly, because you don't sound friendly to me now. You sound neutral. You don't sound real friendly, okay? What's the story there? Am I wrong? Jerry, does he sound friendly? Jerry's gone. He's eating lunch or something. Okay, let me move on.
Bored him.
Okay, bored. Okay, well, I'm sorry. I'm trying my hardest. Okay, here's another recommendation from LinkedIn for you. 2 years ago, when I was looking for a job, I received an email from Joe Skowronek about an opportunity describing offering a very detailed job description. Okay, so what is it you sent this guy?
I just sent him a job description for one of our internal roles in our software solutions group.
You weren't replying to an application from him. This was you sourced somebody and you sent him, like they always tell you not to do, you sent a full detailed job description to someone who didn't know you from Adam. Is that what I'm understanding here incorrectly?
It's kind of incorrectly. We were talking for about, he was in the U.S., went back to India, was trying to find a way to get back into the U.S., so there were conversations before that. It wasn't just a blind job description like he kind of narrated it to be.
Okay.
So,
I don't gather that I'm getting you excited, Joe. What do you want to talk about?
What I want to talk about? I want to talk about about setting up recruiting, and I think there's arguments on the show in the past. Is it better to be a generalist, or is it better to be have a core type of business, right? So if you're a generalist, you pretty much have to start each search over. If you give me embedded software engineer, it's more about waiting for openings for jobs and not finding the candidates. So in that way, we can be more proficient.
Okay.
So.
Okay. You know what? Okay, I'm going to tell you something. You need to add a little more pep to your delivery. I don't like it when Jerry tells me I'm the problem. Michael G. Cox says I'm the problem, and I'm telling you, you can't be a wet noodle, okay? You got to liven it up. At least for the show, I'm going to do an ad. I'll teach you how to do it, okay? Hey, everybody, PC Recruiter is the Swiss Army knife of recruiting software. Wait a second, Joe. Just so everybody doesn't have to hear me twice, I'm going to mute you while I'm doing this ad. Your area code 248, right? Joe. Joey.
Yes.
Okay, 248. I'm putting you on hold. Okay, hi, everybody. PCRecruiter.net. It's the Swiss. It didn't work.
It's still there, dude.
Swiss. Yeah. Maybe it's not him.
It wasn't him.
Okay. 408. Let me see. Yeah, it's 408. Area code 408. I'm sorry, Joe. Okay, great. That's good. At least it won't have for the rest of the show. Anyway, PC Recruiter, it's a recruiting software that's good for every kind of recruiting, direct recruiting, contract recruiting, executive recruiting. It don't matter. They help you. They're very versatile. It doesn't matter if you're a kitchen table recruiter working in your mom's basement, okay, or if you're in a big recruiting team in a big building downtown once the lockdown is over, okay? They will support you. They help you configure the software to suit your workflow. They don't impose anything on you, okay? So go check them out at PCRecruiter.net. And you know what? I'm going to tell you right now about our new sponsor as well. But I'm not going to tell you the name again. StaffingDebt.com. StaffingDebt.com. If you go there this week, or actually this month of June, and say that you're coming from the Recruiting Animal Show, they'll give you a bonus, I think 30 days free for their BackdoorHires.com software. Backdoor Hires searches the net and makes sure that your wonderful clients don't steal your candidates, okay? They didn't tell me to say that, but that's what how I think of it, okay? If you send someone out and they say, "Oh no, I don't think we're ready to hire this guy," and then they go and hire him or her and don't tell you, Backdoor Hires is going to tell you that's happening. Now, Wilson told us they don't always do it on purpose, okay? Sometimes they just forget. Whatever the case. If you go and try out Backdoor Hires, tell them you're coming from Recruiting Animal. And the StaffingDebt.com, it's all about collections in the recruiting business. Okay? I'll do the other ones when we get back to it. Okay, so where were we, Joe? I falsely accused you of causing the echo.
I'm boring. And I have the
so,
echo.
There's no echo anymore. Okay. And listen, a recruiter wrote, don't expect people to like you. Okay, when you contact people, Joe, is it always in response to a resume, or are there ever real cold calls of people who don't know you're going to call them?
So I'm usually starting with an email. I really have a different philosophy when it comes to recruiting. I have buckets of people just kind of waiting for openings. So I'm in a good spot where I don't have to do a whole lot of sourcing, which is amazing. But when I do have to contact people, it's usually email, and then it's not really, if I'm cold calling them, it's almost always at the wrong time. So not always happy to hear from me.
Okay. So do you prepare yourself psychologically to be disliked?
Oh, yeah. I've been in sales prior to recruiting. So, so yeah, I'm always preparing myself. I've only been hung up on 3 times.
Okay, no, but I mean, so when I say psychologically prepared, someone hangs up on you and you say, well, tough luck. You shrug your shoulders and make the next call. Are you able to do that, or do you get upset?
No, never get upset. Again, being in sales, 80% of the time is no, right? The next no I get is closer to the next yes.
So that's how you think, okay? Yes, you're a real explorer. Bumps in the road, they don't bother you. Is that right?
Right.
Okay. I wish I was like that. Bumps in the road bother me. Okay, I get upset. Now, you said you've got buckets of potential candidates. You don't have to do any sourcing. Where do those buckets come from?
Just sourcing. LHP through their marketing, and they've been around, is known as the company that works with embedded systems. So I get a lot of referrals. So a lot of hires that thought I was nice, who referred me candidates.
Okay, how do you get them to refer them to you? Do they just out of the blue say, "Joe, I love you, and I want you to call all my friends," or do you ask them?
Hey, who's sitting next to you? Who do you know who does this? Most time I'm calling them and asking them. Other times they'll see a role posted, say, "Hey, I have a friend I think would be a great fit for this. You should call him."
Okay, you've got this bucket of candidates. Do you do anything in the way of formal pipelining, like you create a newsletter that you send out every month to all the people in your bucket? Anything like that, or you just when you have a search, you go through the database?
Yeah, typically I will go through the database and do a email marketing campaign if for some reason I don't have it. But otherwise, I have 5 or 6 people in different areas that are kind of my go-to. I'll call for referrals.
Oh, really? And how do you get them to be such I have a friend, he calls that kind of person a songbird. How do you develop a relationship like that?
Well, from the onslaught, and then, it's, if you're treating the people right, they're going to want to refer people. So so we ended up putting like 45 people on our paid bench. And so those people are also sending people for other areas. So, yeah.
So when you treat people right, what does that mean? Like, how come I have to pursue this so hard? When you treat people right, they want to refer people. What does that mean?
When you're honest with them, a lot of recruiters, some recruiters aren't very nice, right? They can be jerks sometimes, right? So, if you're honest with them, if you're treating them right through the onboarding process, or you'll get someone hired and then they'll start in an entirely different role than they thought it was. Some recruiters also, would talk about salary, and when it comes to the offer, the salary is different. So, if you're honest and transparent and responsive, right?
I'm honest. People aren't throwing candidates at me. Michael G. Cox, are you honest?
Yes, I'm curious though. This, the warm and fuzzies that we've been talking about, and it's getting you candidates. But is any of this leading to new business? I'm just curious how you're able to maybe pivot that.
Okay, go ahead. Are you inside a corporation, or do you work as an agency?
I'm inside a $40 million corporation.
So there you go. There's your answer. I answered your
mind.
question, Michael G. Cox. I thought maybe you knew something that I didn't.
Thank
He's
you.
at a company, an engineering company. He just told you that at the beginning. Now I remember he said it at the beginning of the show. Maybe you were sleeping, okay?
I might have been. My apologies.
Okay. Oh, here's a question. I'm going to let you think of it.
Why the switch from sales to recruiting? And now are you focused on sales recruiting?
No, he's recruiting engineers, embedded software engineers.
Well, he's also asking about generalist versus, niching down and being a specialist.
Yeah, he's a specialist in embedded engineers, Michael G. Cox. I mean, what happened to you this week?
My first
no
question
coffee?
then is why would you? I'm drinking my coffee right now. It's starting to kick in. Why the move? Why the switch from sales to recruiting?
So when I got into LHP, it was like 2013. We only had an office in Columbus, Indiana, before then. So I built up sales there, and to the point where the problem wasn't the recs; it was problem of people, the recruiters, not really knowing the technology, and I was the only one who could recruit that. So the president asked me to, switch to recruiting. So I did that for a while. I did leave for like a year for a startup, which was more a different area, which in manufacturing, which I hated. So I came back. I like recruiting a lot more than sales.
Hi, this is Stacey Harris.
And this is Terry Zipper, and we're the host of the two podcasts under the HR Huddle.
On Spilling the Tea on HR Tech, we uncover the latest trends, truths, and challenges from Sapient Insight Group's groundbreaking research and our analyst insights, serving up everything you need to know about HR tech with no sugarcoating.
And on HR We Have a Problem, we tackle the toughest workplace challenges head on, offering you expert advice and actionable solutions to help HR leaders thrive in today's fast-changing world. Whether you want the scoop on tech or tools to solve people problems, we've got you covered.
Take a listen and subscribe. If you want to become part of our community, we'd love to see you.
Michael G. Cox, anything else you've done there? Michael G. Cox?
And then if you were to go away from being a generalist, you would stick to the tech recruiting side of this?
Well, I'm not generalist. Yeah, So while at LHP, that's kind of what we did is, so I'm the embedded systems guy. So everything within, the software that runs in the engine.
And you recommend, you like niche recruiting. You support the idea of being a niche recruiter because you just told us that those generalist recruiters couldn't do a good job because they didn't have enough focus and depth on that specific technology. Am I right? Is that what you've been telling us? Tell Michael G. Cox he hasn't been listening too closely, okay?
Yeah, that is exactly. So one of the so I can talk to a candidate more deeply about a role than a generalist recruiter would be able to from one of those larger staffing agencies because they're working on so many different things.
Okay, so would you agree with this statement, generalist recruiters suck? Would you say yes, that's true?
No, I don't think that's true. I think it can be done in sales and manufacturing, but once you're getting to the super technical things like embedded systems and IT, I don't think they take the time to learn the role deep enough and the technology deep enough.
Well, if they're working a lot of recs or searches, they don't have time to learn any of them in any depth. That's essentially what you're saying. You don't want to admit it, but that's the message I'm getting from you. These generalists, they're know-nothings, okay? You're the man or person who can really have an engaging conversation and do a good screen on a candidate. Okay, so you don't even have to answer that. I answered for you based on the information you've already given us. I want to do another ad, okay? HireTool, HireTual.com. Man, it is a sourcing tool, the one everybody raves about on Facebook. Every discussion, there's always people asking every day, oh, what's the best sourcing tool? How do I get contact information? Okay? People in the comments are always, they'll give a whole bunch of tools. I'm not saying there's lots of good tools, but they're always raving about HireTool, HireTual. And it's not just any recruiters. It's recruiters I recognize as super-duper recruiters, highly respected recruiters and sourcers. They like HireTool. Go check it out, okay? And then in a minute, I'm going to come back and talk to you about HoneIt. But first, I'm going to talk to Joe, the guest, about resumes. Jason Barber, a former guest on this show, he said, all marketing spins the truth, so there's no reason a resume should be any different. Do you agree with that, Joe?
Yeah, there's a lot of resumes that are very deceiving because they end up talking about what the team's doing, not that person. So you got to kind of read through that.
And how do you do that? Do you just call the person up and say, look, I'm not clear if anybody else has, really had responsibility for this duty, or if that was your specific responsibility? Do you actually ask them a blunt question like that?
Yeah, I'm like, where are you doing this? What do you do? I understand what your team did. What do you do?
Okay. Now how can you be warm and fuzzy? That doesn't sound warm and fuzzy. It sounds confrontational, or as you like to say, transactional, cold-hearted.
No, they end up respecting you more because most of the recruiters are not. I would say most. Some other recruiters in the industry spend 15 minutes on phone screens. I spend 45 minutes to an hour to understand everything, and they end up respecting me for that. And
okay, so you're saying, look, I read your resume. Your resume sucks. It's not very clear. It looks like you're claiming to do this duty, and I can't tell if you're the person doing it or somebody else, and you're just on the same team. So are you bluffing me or not? Okay? Now's the chance. You have to be straight with me. That's what you're saying, okay? And you're doing that for 45 minutes, and they like you after that?
Well, that's only a part of it. The other part is learning understanding technology, and then some of them, a lot of them, ask if I was an engineer, so they feel like they're not talking to a recruiter anymore, right? Because I work for an engineering company.
Yeah. So you sound like an engineer. You can fake that because you know so much about the jargon and stuff like that, and the responsibilities.
I could probably get hired, but not do very well as an embedded software.
Okay, so you get yourself hired, and on day one you wouldn't be able to do anything, so they'd know. Okay, yeah. So that suggests that you think good talkers can do better in an interview than maybe somebody who's got the great skills but doesn't know how to present themselves. Would you agree with that?
Oh yeah, there are great interviewers who will last a week. And they're brilliant engineers who can't get a job because they can't pass an interview, but are brilliant.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. And have you ever hired somebody or put somebody forward that they were, man, you had a conversation and you said, I just felt exhilarated after I talked to this person, and then they show up at work and you have egg on your face? Has that ever happened?
That happened. The one time it happened is we had, and it was total by accident, we had one manager who would, at one company, who would ask the same questions no matter how it happened, right? No matter what they answered. And just prepping the candidates, by accident, we was like, hey, they're going to ask these things. And he memorized it and got the job and lasted for a week. And it wasn't, I was trying to do anything faulty, but we pretty much gave away the farm without knowing.
Okay. So you gave away the test questions. I'm going to ask you in a second. I want you to think of this while I'm doing the ad. How do you prep candidates? How much time, since you said you're generous with your time, how much time do you spend with a candidate before an interview, and what exactly do you go over with them? Because we have a friend, Tyron Giuliani, and he was working with senior people for huge fees. He spent tons of time prepping them for their interviews. But right now, I'm going to talk about Honeit, HONEIT.com, the online interview recording technology. You go to a website, your candidate calls into the same website, it records your conversation. When you have a special question, you press a little button, and it records that and allows you to press the button again when that specific topic is done. You've got a clip of the candidate in his or her own words talking about that essential issue. You send it off to the hiring manager, and she decides what she thinks of that person's answer Okay, and it also provides a searchable transcript. It used to be just audio because, Nick Livingston is a recruiter, the boss over there, and we like audio. We like talking on the phone. But people wanted video, so now you can get video too. I mean, he's got everything for you. Honeit, HONEIT.com. Okay, back to you, Joe. I asked you a question before. Do you remember what question that was?
How long I
Before
spend prepping
Yeah.
candidates for an interview?
Yeah, how long?
So I spend 30 minutes to 45 minutes in prepping the candidates. I come up with mock questions. If they would ask you this, how are you doing the development for this product? If I have the right type of customer, I kind of know their format. So because I have one customer who we'll just have them talk about
when you
their
say
background.
customer, that's why Jerry was confused. When you say customer, you mean internal customer, right?
We have internal customers, and then we have external customers too. So we do engineering outsourced projects, and then customers come to us for contractors as well if they're not outsourcing the entire project.
Okay. So maybe I should have understood that before.
Yep. So I know, and this one person would, for example, I would have to say, hey, you're talking about your resume. This guy's got 10 years of experience. He spent like 25 minutes talking about his background. So I go, hey, we need that down to 10 minutes, man. So I had to coach them on brevity as well, right? And then the types of areas they would talk about, not giving away the farm like this other guy. So
so you don't tell them you don't use the exact same questions that the hiring manager is going to use. Am I right about that, or
no.
you don't really know what the hiring manager is going to say because that one hiring manager asks the same questions every time, but not everybody does that. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, that was an anomaly, but I'm lucky with some of our customers that we can actually, a lot of our interviews are WebEx or conference calls, so then they allow us to listen. So based on the last interview, I can kind of see. Okay,
so hold on a second. If you're listening and you feel the candidate has not touched on the right issue, will you say, wait a second, Ms. Hiring Manager, and then you say, Mary, I think what Shelley wants to know exactly is what you've done in this area. Will you interject and help the hiring manager and the candidate, hone in on just the right thing?
No, I'm hands off. If I do that, I think they won't let us listen in anymore.
I would be happy if I was the hiring manager. I would be happy that the recruiter was helping me.
Although I want to, we don't do that.
Boy, I would have a hard time shutting up. Anybody else want to ask him a question? There's other people here. Anybody want to ask him a question or, fight with him or, scold me or I'm too boring, I'm saying the dumb things, the stuff you always scold me about, anything like that?
Just for the record, you're boring and you ask dumb things.
Okay, thanks, Michael G. That's MikeRecruiter.com. If you want to see somebody else and criticize him, go to MikeRecruiter.com. You'll see his LinkedIn profile. Okay. Let me see. What other questions? Okay, I saw some corporate recruiters complaining that they are overburdened, that they really can't do the work. I barely have time to source because we use an old ATS, and that requires a lot of clicks, and they make us do a lot of manual work, that someone else repeats. I don't even know what she was referring to there, but she said she doesn't have time to screen properly. Okay, that they are overburdened. So another person said, look, I got to tell you, I do all my screening with email. I come up with 3 to 5 questions. I send an email to the candidate, and I judge their answers that way for who I'm actually going to talk to. What do you think of that, screening by email?
That makes me cringe. So is this person saying that they're not talking to the people they're sending over, or is just they're determining by the questions if they're going to screen them or not?
Okay, here's what he says. He sends 3 to 5 key questions that the candidate must answer, detailing their experience, and they can use it as a quick guide. They decide on that basis if they're going to actually have a phone screen, and then they go over the same stuff, asking for more detailed answers on the phone. So what about
just
asking
put that on
them initial...
as part of the application and be done with it? And it doesn't sound like whoever is doing that is. That's not. First of all, obviously that's not working if you're doing proactive recruiting. So if you're going to do something like that, just make it part of the application and be done with it.
Okay, it's not an application necessarily. They're going out and recruiting somebody by email. You send out an email, right, Michael G. Cox? And you say, look, this is a position I'm working on. Might you have some interest in it? The person sends back a message, yes, I'd like to talk about it.
And before you reply, answer these three questions first, to see if I want to talk.
Yeah, you know what? I think that's burdening the person with too much on the first email. I might be wrong.
Yes.
But then
you'll never get any candidates if you're waiting for them to answer some questions before. We hear these horror stories about the applicant process, right, and all this stuff they got to jump through before you even talk to a person. You're going to ask them the questions. Just do what all of us do. Hey, if the resume looks good, call them. The ones who look the best, call them first. And if you don't have time for the other ones who don't look as good, don't call them.
Okay, so you're making a clear, blunt statement, okay? You are 100% against, if the person bites after you've made the initial cold email recruiting pitch, if the person bites, don't send them a follow-up email with 3 to 5 questions. Get on the phone and talk to them personally. You're saying this is a disaster formula.
Yeah, you're adding more time to yourself. You're adding an extra step with the candidates, which if they're in a niche market and these people are tough to find, they're not going to. You're going to miss out on the candidate by the time they answer the questions.
Just look, if you figure that candidate is somebody you need to speak to, make it as easy as possible, as low commitment as possible to get them to that next baby step. And that next baby step maybe they'll take my text message next time, or maybe it is a full-fledged, quick 15-minute conversation on the phone. But whatever it is, you got to make it so easy and so low committal that they're going to be like, yeah, okay, yeah, I'll have that quick chat. But if you're doing an email, and in that email you're including, you're already giving them hoops to jump through, get out of here. That's not going to work.
Hold on, Michael G. Cox.
Unless.
Oh, wait a second. You're a sales. Go ahead. Okay,
So
you're a sales.
Unless you're recruiting positions that are super low and forklift operators or maybe something that's high volume, call center, things like that. Yeah, I get the point of having to try and whittle it down. But
that's the thing. If you're a sales, no, don't tell me. Go ahead, and then you talk over me for 10 minutes. Okay? Here's the thing.
Go ahead.
Part of sales is qualifying your client. They always say don't spend a half an hour talking to somebody who really, is not going to buy in the end anyway. Okay? So if this step helps qualify the candidates and actually point you to the ones who are worthwhile to talk to, I don't see why it's so bad.
Stage. That's what you do at the sourcing stage. If you're having trouble, having too many conversations with too many people that are not qualified enough, then you need a new and better list. And if you're not having enough conversations with solid candidates that maybe you can't even place today, but maybe you can help them or just have that preliminary conversation, do that, and don't make them jump through so many hoops.
Okay. I got to do an ad before we're finished. I'm just going to run through all. I think I've got 4 clients now, and they might start getting mad at me that there's too many. StaffingDebt.com. They are the collection expert for the staffing and recruiting industry. Okay, I've never used them myself, but Rich Rosen, who makes $1 million a year, he has, and he endorses them, okay? Is there a better endorsement than that? I don't think so. Hire Tool, HIRETUAL, the super-duper sourcing tool. Amy Miller, famous recruiter, loves them, okay? Check it out. Honeit, HONEIT.com. Who was it? I think Mike Batman Cohn. He's the guy who just raved about them a few weeks ago on the show, if I'm not mistaken. And PCRecruiter.net, okay? Wilson Cole, the guy from Staffing Debt, he loves PCRecruiter.net. So you've got all these superstars raving about each other. Check them all out, okay? Let me ask you something, Joe, okay? What about... You make, and we're talking about sourcing lists and, narrowing the sourcing list down to just the right people. That's what Michael G. Cox is talking about. So what if you do your initial source and then...
Hi, you've reached the Sadler Sioux residence. Please leave a message for either Kendra, Kelsey, or Dylan.
What is going on?
We'll get back to you when we can. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Leave a message.
Let's leave a message for Kendra. This is the Recruiting Animal Show. Why don't you learn how to use your phone? Okay? Nice talking to you, Kendra.
Kendra.
I like Kendra. Okay. Now, I guess, we don't have to worry about turning it off for it. It'll turn off on its own. Okay. So you've got your initial list. You've done some research on these people. Do you ever think of going to the hiring manager and asking her if she likes these people before you actually make your calls? Some people say that's a thing the recruiter should be doing herself. Don't, put this burden and this time waster on the hiring manager. Other people say, look, it's really worthwhile. It gives the hiring manager a chance to, point out exactly what she's looking for. What do you think about that, Joe?
Welcome to The Human Role, your go-to podcast where HR and payroll collide with innovation. I'm your host, Tiana Neal, and every month I'm diving deep with industry experts and change makers, bringing you real talk insights, practical tips, and fresh takes you won't hear anywhere else. Whether you're a leader, practitioner, or just curious about the latest HR and payroll trends, I've got you covered. Ready to roll with the best? Tune in for fresh perspectives, actionable tips, and the knowledge you need to roll forward with confidence. Subscribe now and let's transform the way you work.
I don't think I need to do that with the hiring manager, at least internally. We've already talked about it, and they're pretty much, if I send them an official submittal, there's enough trust in me that they're going to pretty much interview everyone I send.
Uh-huh. Okay.
So I don't do that.
Okay. Uh-huh.
If
Michael G. Cox
it's something totally new, I'll do that.
Okay, you will do it then. Okay, you will do it.
Only if it's something I've never worked on before. If it's something totally weird.
Well, you told us you're a niche player, and that the whole thing is you work on the same thing all the time. Now you're saying there's certain jobs that you don't work on.
Right.
Okay. Michael G. Cox, would you do that since you're here and you've got an opinion on everything this week?
Would I do what? I'm sorry.
Oh, wake up. Okay, there's only 3 minutes left. Would you go and make your initial sourcing list, which you say has to be very narrow, and before you actually go out and make all the phone calls, show the hiring manager the people and say, what do you think of this? Who are the ones you like best? Who would you like me to call first? Or are there any people in there you'd really like me to rule out?
No, I mean, I would have done that, and I did do that sometimes when I was on the corporate side, and share with them what the results were, because sometimes they're asking for way too much, and you basically plug that into either LinkedIn or Indeed. You conduct a resume database search, and you show them, for your geography, this is what you're asking for, and this is how how many of these folks, you're doing like a mini market map for these folks, and you demonstrate what's out there. And then you say, and by the way, if you want to search for jobs with your qualifications, look how many there are now. Now you see the demand for those folks. And then you're saying, and you think you just ended the voicemail.
Yeah.
And you think you can get away with paying this much in this region for those qualifications? That's going to be tough, man. If you've got plenty of time, then maybe we can move forward.
Now I understand. Kendra's so smart that she didn't want to miss the last part of the show, even though it's recorded. So she recorded it on her own phone.
There you go.
Okay, I don't understand what you just said, Michael G. Cox, but I'm sure it was great. No,
yeah.
I'd like to hear it another time. Okay, Joe. Anything?
Kendra,
parting words?
On recording.
Yeah, parting words, Joe.
No, it was fun. I feel it was actually less painful this time than the first time.
So, well, you're getting used to it. You'll come back next year again. Joe Skowronek. Joe Skowronek. He doesn't say it like that. How do you say your name?
Joe Skowronek.
Joe Skowronek. I slowed it down. Michael G. Cox, MikeRecruiter.com. The great Jerry Albright, he put in at least 5 minutes. Thank you, Jerry, for thinking of us. Goodbye, everybody!
I'm here, Jerry.
Andy, what did you think of the show today? I missed it. I was involved in trench warfare.
Man, I got to tell you,
Hey, Animal, mute the person that's doing the beeping.
Okay, area code 203. I'm off now. I'm going to have some lunch.
What are you going to have?
Don't you worry about that. Just handle your show.
Hey, I'm not worried about it. I was seeing if you were interesting. Andy Gregory, I'm sorry to have...
Yeah, no problem. No, I understand. We have to take care of housekeeping. Man, I'm sure the guy's a nice guy. As a